So let's move to spring, and let's look at what you will be doing once the vegetation comes back and the brush along the river grows again.
Sure. So a lot of the work that we end up doing is providing maintenance along the banks of the Charles River, which largely a lot of the vegetation that grows along the banks of the river is a really fast-growing invasive species. And it's good to have vegetation by the banks of a river in that it kind of protects the river from pollutants and things of that sort. However, the invasive species we're talking about will grow about 6 to 8 feet in any given year and totally choke out views of the river and become completely unmanageable and end up costing a lot of money to replace or to cut down in the future if they're not taken care of on a regular basis. Now, the Department of Conservation and Recreation is able to do some of this work, but they rely upon our volunteers as well to take care of a bunch of projects. So we have a girl pictured who we could bring up, I believe. Oh,
sorry,
shoot.
Let me go back here.
Okay.
All right.
So I believe this is a young woman from Harvard Business School who came out and volunteered with us in this past year. And she is busy cutting down desert false indigo, which is one of the plants that grows along the river. And all of the organic material that we end up cutting down is brought to a composting facility. And one of the great things is that all of this organic material is turned into compost that we can use for projects like bulb plantings. We used 10 yards of that compost this past autumn on our bulb plantings, and it all came from projects such as our invasive species removals in the spring.
So you mentioned that some areas are cut by volunteers, other areas are cut by the DCR. Explain a little bit of that. I understand there is a plan, really almost foot by foot of the river, of what needs to be hand cut and what is machine cut, because it has different requirements in terms of erosion control.
Absolutely, yeah. The local conservation commissions, every town has their own, any municipality has their own conservation commission, and each one has their own strict guidelines in preparing or in providing for the well-being of the river. And like I had said, vegetation is important to have on the banks of a river to protect it from pollutants and to stabilize banks, like you were saying, with erosion problems. And each town devises their own vegetation management plan, which expressly spells out where we'll end up working and where the DCR ends up working. And we basically meet up with them and at the beginning of every year and figure out exactly what areas of the river we'll be taking care of and what areas they'll take care of. And
the plan was created in collaboration with the Conservancy, the DCR, and the Conservation Commission to come to a balance so that there will be vistas, there be areas that are allowed to grow higher, so there would be a balance.
Absolutely.
A balanced shore.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's very much a collaborative effort between the three parties and the Esplanade Association as well on the banks in the Esplanade.
Yeah. Now, I guess in terms of the season, we're moving back a little bit. This looks like earlier in the year. Tell us what we're looking at here.
So this picture right here is one of our Charles River cleanup days. These volunteers are on the banks in Boston. Right.
So that was the Earth Day.
Yes, it's our Earth Day Charles River cleanup. This past year, which is what's featured in this picture, was our 10th annual Charles River Cleanup Day. This past year, 3,000 volunteers came out. Over 700 of which were under the auspices of the Conservancy volunteer program, and it makes for one of the biggest volunteer efforts in the country and one of the biggest cleanup days in the country. Over the 80 miles of shoreline, we ended up picking up, I believe it was estimated at 20 tons of trash, which hopefully eventually it will end up being zero. I mean, we'd like to even be able to use our efforts at putting plantings into the parks and things like that rather than picking up trash. But for the time being, these volunteers have a great time, especially on a beautiful day like that, and really enjoy themselves out there.
Yeah, yeah. Now, a whole other kind of project we see in action here.
Yeah, so largely our projects there are any number of projects well fit to any organization or corporation that wants to come out. One of the things that we do each year, we'll paint seawall railings and we'll paint park benches. They need a good coat at least every other year in order to protect them from decay and graffiti and things of the sort.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know you probably could tell us a lot more, but we want to make sure that that people who are interested in volunteering, individuals or companies, that they have a chance to see of how they could do that and how they can get in touch with you.
Absolutely.
To find out how to do that.
So the previous picture was of a bunch of our tools, and we really have all the tools necessary for the job. We have a big 1-ton pickup dump truck as well that comes out. You'll probably see us on the shoreline at various times with all sorts of projects. And this coming spring is our 10th anniversary, and we're looking to get out there in stronger forces than ever. My contact information is all up on the screen right now, and I would highly recommend for you to come out and volunteer with us. If you have a corporation that's interested in a corporate volunteer day, we provide one of the best volunteering experiences in Boston. Or if you're an organization like a local school or anything of the sort, we also would be more than happy to get you out on the banks this spring as well. Well,
John Broderick, thank you for the work you do, for your presentation, and as you can see, John is very enthusiastic. He's great with not only with plants but with people and the tools. So you'll have a wonderful experience. And I also would like to thank the Boston Foundation for helping us to make these programs and our work possible. We depend very much on foundation support as well as on support of individuals and corporations. And if you want to find out more about the Charles River Conservancy, then you could contact us at our website, thecharles.org. And I hope you keep coming to the river, volunteering with us, and look out for those wonderful bulbs when they come out in the spring. And thank you for joining us for this show today. Thank you, John.
Oh, thank you so much, Renata.